can do. I help coordinate all of them. And Ag in the Classroom, New York Ag in the Classroom is one of them. So I'm happy to be here. And yeah, series 2 is kind of jam-packed. So we have a lot to cover today.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And before we get started, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in our Q&A section, and we'll get to as many questions as we can. So Emma, what are we looking at behind us? What's all the action going on?
All right. Well, let me introduce you to our maternity barn. A lot of people, young folks, don't really know maternity is just a fancy word for motherhood. So we have a lot of mommies in here. We have a couple of babies, and we actually have a brand new born baby in our baby room here. I can open the gate and you'll come on in real quick. We can review a couple things that we talked about with our calving series last week. So this is a brand new baby. The first thing you'll notice is this ear tag in her ear. Right away, we want to make sure to identify them and get them in the computer. And the other thing in her ear, she has, I don't want her to jump up, so I'm reaching for it in my pocket. She has a little RFID chip in her left ear. That's really cool. That is going to pair with, when she grows up and has her own baby, either, this is our old technology, it's a foot pedometer to track how active she is. But what we're trying to introduce now are these super cool collars. The cows are going to wear them. It fits right under her chin. And it's really neat because this now not only will track activity, but it also tracks her eating behaviors, eating, drinking, resting, and walking. All those things go into our computer. Actually, the receiver is right here. The red light's blinking right up there in the rafter, that little antenna. All the information from all the cows in this barn is going straight to that antenna and then to our mainframe computer. So it's really nice because we can have a lot of cows. We are milking 1,200 cows on our farm. Altogether, we have about 3,000. We raise our own young stock. And so this is really great technology because it brings it down to every individual. So in our little newborn room here, we have all kinds of little, here's for all the ones that really like a nice little, I do this for all the kids. Happy birthday. There you go. So in the winter, this room is really nice because the floor is heated. We keep it nice and warm for our babies. Over here, they need to stay here and drink their colostrum, the mother's first milk, right off the bat, and get a good half gallon of that within the first hour that they're born. And so we keep them here to keep an eye on them. You can see over here against the wall, we do have more tags coming up. So that's 32 right there, 9632. 33 is gonna waiting to go, and the corresponding RFID chip is right there. So we're all set to go for our newborn babies in here. We have about 3 on average, 3 babies born every day on the farm. So she'll be joined by 2 more before the day is over. So,
and we do have a great question. Does she have a name yet?
She doesn't. Her name right now is her number. Usually I do Zoom Dairy virtual. Oh, she's standing up for us. Way to go, little girl. I do virtual tours with classes, and each class gets to adopt a little girl, and you never know. Maybe this one will get a name on my next on the next tour that we do. But that's yep, she is so far 9632. So we have something. Oh, how old? She just a couple hours old. She spent time with her mom. Mom got to clean her up and dry her off and bond with her a little bit. But then mom needs to go and join the milking herd, and the baby needs to come special into this room so we can make sure she's healthy. And she'll go back across the road where we were last week over with the calves, where we can take good care of her. So she'll be over there with a bunch of buddies soon enough. But we don't want to keep them here in this barn. Big cow barns are no place for babies. And so we want to make sure that she gets that special care and attention that we talked about last week. So we have really cool things going on. Tuesday's a special day here on the farm because we're going to talk about cow comfort along with nutrition today. And I thought while we're up at this end of the barn, it might be a good time to check in on our hoof trimmer is here today. Brian Buell is over there working on our cows' feet. Cows need to have their hoofs trimmed twice a year. And so using the Let me get it out again. Using that computer chip in their ear, we have it all listed in our computer what cows need to come and have their hooves taken care of. And just like us, just like how we trim our fingernails and toenails, if you don't keep up with that, they get too long, uncomfortable, and you might walk a little funny if your shoes don't fit. Our cows will walk a little funny if we don't trim their hooves. And so this is all part of cow health and comfort. And we'll go on over and see how it happens.
As we're heading over there, we had a great question tying in from our virtual field trip from last week. How long do they hang out here at the end of the barn before they go to pre-K?
Oh, before they go to the nursery barn? Oh, they're here until they get enough colostrum. So it's about a day or more that they're in this room. And then when we get a couple of calves together to make the trip across, they'll head on over. So
awesome.
that's
that
a good
was a
question.
Great question, yes.
All right, so this is where we do our hoof trimming. The cows leave the parlor, which we'll talk about next week is the parlor. And what they do is that ear tag, they get sorted because we have their number already written in the, we should go on the back side here. Or do you want us to come right on up? Do you want to explain? Oh, okay, so come on over this way, guys. So what they do as they walk out of the parlor, it's already in the computer that we need to take care of this cow's feet. Her 6 months has come up, right? Twice a year. And so as she's leaving the parlor, a gate will open and direct her right down here to the tilt table. And so she'll walk in. Already her hooves have been done. And Brian, do you want to take it away? You want to explain to them? Oh, should I just pass it over? Hold on, everyone.
Well, we're having a special guest join us today. Well, Brian, thank you for joining us. Yes, can you hear us?
Yes. So as what we do here is we try to shorten the length of the toe up here between 3 and 3 1/4 inches and maintain a 45-degree angle this way. So we will take just a little slight bit off of the heel and more off of the end of the toe to maintain that angle. We'll dish this out a little bit. She was pretty thin, so this one you can see we left a bunch back here and took it off towards the front. We dish this out because there's 2 pedal bones that come down, and by dishing this out, we take the pressure off of the pedal bones. So we actually give the pedal bone a little bit of a rest, and we get her walking back out on this, what we call a white line. It comes up and goes back. That is what will support her for the next couple months.
And this is just like our fingernails?
I'm sorry?
Are these just like our fingernails?
Yes, similar texture. Yes.
We have a lot of students want to know, does it hurt the calves or the cows when they have their hooves trimmed?
Not at all. It's no different than clipping your own toenails.
And does it, or is she asleep when you're giving her manicure and pedicure?
Is she what?
Asleep. Students
no,
want to know
not
if
at
she's
all.
Asleep.
Nope, not at all. She's very
and
awake.
I have one last question. How does the machine work?
How does the machine work?
Yep.
It's all electric over hydraulic, and if you give me a second, I can set her right down.
So we're going to get a great view of that cow being tipped over. This is to allow the cow to, or the the hoof trimmer to get to the hooves, and it's a lot easier for them to work on the cow and probably a lot safer for the cow as well.
Yes, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is release her feet, and then I'm going to set her back down. And out she goes with brand new feet.
And the machine puts pressure on the cow, just keep that cow stable, or?
Yes, so this side squeezes in, and that just creates a V so she can't fall out, and it squeezes her just a little bit to keep her calm.
Probably similar to many of our students when they go to sleep and they pull a heavy blanket on, and it just kind of calms you down. It calms the cow down.
Yep. Yep. And
Awesome.
nothing on this machine hurts the cow. Everything is under pressure so that it only squeezes so hard. So you can see that I can put my hand in here and nothing at all will over stress the cows.
And what would
But
happen?
it looks
What,
like I have a new customer if you'd like to see the whole
perfect.
process done.
Of course, we'd love to see that. And what would happen if
Okay.
you didn't trim their hoofs?
They get too long. So the end of the toe would get longer. She'd get 4 or 5 inches long. And when they get that long, we lose the angle of the toe. I forget where I'm supposed to be looking. We would lose the angle of the toe, and then it would stretch out her tendons in the back, and it would keep breaking her down and breaking her down.
So by trimming the hoofs, it really benefits the health of the cow.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing the next one come through.
Okay. Thank you.
Good job. All right.
So it looks like we
back.
have another cow coming down the chute.
We do. Now, do you want to spend a little time and watch her come on in, or?
Sure, we have a little bit of time.
Okay, so he's going to go up and get her. He gets it all ready, and yeah, it doesn't hurt the cow at all. I mean, of course, it's like a carnival ride that they didn't sign up for. That's what I always say. And so it's kind of funny for him. But oh, she came right on in, and you'll see it gets her secure before he tilts, and it's about there she goes. Now she's going to kind of do a little running in the air, a little bit, because she, it is a little weird, but actually she's doing a great job. And he secures her feet. Then what he'll do next is get his grinder. That's what he uses on the feet. And he gets his shield on. Little tiny hoof pieces are going to go flying. It's like it all of a sudden snows in May here.
And we had a great question. How much do these cows weigh that are being picked up?
Oh, let's see. Maybe around 1,600, I think. Somewhere in there. I'm not a good one with cow weight, but it's the table I think can handle quite a bit more weight than that, actually. And this is a new one. I think he got this just about a year or two ago. So it's really nice.
And we do have a great question with the press going to Temple Grandin. Is this a design that would kind of harken to her research on being able to kind of support cows as they go through and kind of put a little pressure on them?
I'm not quite understanding the question. This is
so with the press, the cow press, one of our teachers wanted to know, was this kind of along the lines of Temple Grandin's work?
Yeah, it does. It keeps them calm. Is that what you're getting at for that?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. Not only does it secure them, but it also makes them feel safe in there. So we have to move on out because I think this cow's coming along back to her barn. And you can see here's her head. She's just relaxing right there. This one, she just had her feet done. We saw that. And what she's going to do is head on back to her barn. She's all finished up, but she's might, let's get us out of the way and then we'll let her go. Here we go. All righty. So there she goes because she needs to get back to the barn where she belongs. We're making life very difficult for them. How about we go? Want us to go first? We'll go first. Because we have to head down the barn anyway and get on with the rest of our... Nope. She's going to be right behind us. All right, here, we'll sneak up. Whoa, ho, cow. All right, come on through. There she, oh, she's so excited. She's all light on her feet after having all that done. All right, so now what we're going to do is head on down the center of our maternity barn. And here we come. All right, so in here, this is a really neat barn, the way it's set up. Half of the barn are cows that are dry cows. Cows milk for about 10 months out of the year. During that time, they do get pregnant again, and then they take a 2-month vacation while they wait to have their baby. So this whole side of the barn over here all these cows are due to have their baby by the end of, I guess, July. So every one of them, you can see a lot of them are resting. We provide deep sand beds for our cows to sleep on. They can move that sand around however they want to feel comfortable. We've got fans in the barn every 60 feet that give about a 6 to 8 mile per hour wind. And that keeps flies away and it keeps our cows nice and cool. There's water misters over all the bunks, and they come on every 10 minutes when the temperature gets a lot hotter. And so we try to keep them as comfortable as possible. If we have time, we'll go down into another barn. We've got automatic barn scrapers in the lower barns and also automatic back scratchers. So that's really nice for our cows. We're going to make our way down to the end of the barn, and then we'll take a look at the feed that both of them have. On this side of the barn, though, these guys are still coming to the milking parlor. They're coming 3 times a day, and you can see a lot of them are chowing down on some good feed here. And if we stand right in the middle of the barn and look back, if you take a close look, some of you might notice that there is a difference in the 2 feeds on either side of the barn for our dry cows on the left and our milkers on the right. Or is it reversed for you guys? So on the left-hand side, it's a lighter color, and that's because it's a whole different recipe. We're going to go around the corner and do a little bit of mixing and recipe making ourselves. But you can see these are just 2 of the, I think, 10 to 12 recipes that we mix up every day for all of our cows. They're all in different stages of growth, and their bodies are doing different things, and so they need different protein and nutrition. And so on the left, that light color is that there's a lot of straw mixed in for them. Cows really like to eat. Our cows, our highest producing cows, will eat over 100 pounds of food a day, and so they really, this one with her tongue, so they really do like to, they like to eat. But if these dry cows ate the diet that our milking cows have, they would end up getting a little too fat before it was time to have a baby. And so we want to make sure that they get to eat a lot, but they don't get all those, all the extra fat and energy that they don't need. So we mix in a lot of straw. I always tell people it's like if you're trying to lose a little weight and you eat that big salad for dinner, you feel like you're eating a lot, but you don't get a lot of calories with that. So that's the exact same concept for our dry cows. Over here, not as much straw mixed in at all. It's darker in color because it has different ingredients. It's got a lot of different energy, a lot of haylage and corn silage and the fats and proteins that these gals need. On average, they're giving us about 10 to 15 gallons of milk every day. So that's pretty amazing. And if you take a close look down the line, you'll see a couple of the collars that we were talking about on this one, 7921. Every time she eats that food, we got another one down here. Every time she eats, drinks, walks, and rests, she might show you her. They never want to cooperate. So anyway, all that information is very useful. It lets us know if we are mixing the feed correctly, if we're getting it chopped down to the right number of pieces, because then when she lays down and starts ruminating and chewing her cud, if she has to chew it about 50 to 70 times, somewhere in there, you know that you're mixing up a good batch, that you have it just right, and then it's very digestible for them. So all that is really good information for us, and that's why we switched from just the pedometer on their feet to now the newer collar around their neck. So that's a little bit about the nutrition, and we're going to go around the corner and continue on with some of the cool stuff. Cows are amazing animals because they are able to eat so many different things that us people use as products, and they can eat the byproducts of those. So it's really interesting what they are able to digest and use.
And we have some great questions. Where do you get all this food? Is it all trucked in to you, or is any of the food grown there on the farm?
Yes, we do have, we grow about 7,000 acres of crops on our farm. A lot of that is hay and corn silage for our cows. We also sell a lot of grain, but we do, yeah, a lot of the hay and corn is all for our cows. And then we do have the supplemental grains and things like that are also, those are brought in by different companies.
And is the food that you're mixing, and that we're about to see a demonstration, does that go into the nutrients for the calf?
For
The calf within the mother?
well, yes, yeah, just like humans. Yep, you want to eat a very nutritious meal to make sure that your baby is growing healthy. Yes, for sure.
Well,
That's
so
it.
in front of us, you're going to give us a demonstration of how you mix the foods.
Well, first I'm going to show you all the cool things that a lot of people say, I don't eat dairy. I don't do, anything with dairy. And then I kind of want to point out though, that a lot of the products we eat and use and wear actually is related to dairy cows. So it's kind of neat in the whole recycling system of it all. So like if you woke up and had orange juice this morning, you squeeze out the juice. Where does all those peels go? Where does the rind go? Well, in fact, what we can do is pelletize it and citrus pulp right here. That's a nice additive that we can give to our cows, filled with vitamin C. Our cows really like that. Good old Eli Whitney and the cotton gin. If you're wearing socks and underwear of cotton, the cotton boll has seeds in it. We got to get all those seeds out because nobody wants seeds in their underwear. And so what you end up with is a whole lot of cottonseed. All of these are the seeds that come out of the boll. We use the fiber. The cows can eat the seeds. It's a great source of fats and protein for our cows. So it's kind of amazing. Any beer drinkers in the, I hope not, but if you're parents, these are dried distillers grains. We use them ethanol production and also alcohol production. This is what's left when you use the corn, and we can feed that to our cows. And it goes on and on. Right here, that Hershey bar that you may have had for s'mores the other night around the campfire. Whenever Hershey's cleans out their machines from product to product, Reese's, and then, or I don't know, peanut butter bars or whatever they make there, they need to clean it all out, and waste chocolate smells so good. So the waste chocolate, the cows love it when we add waste chocolate to their feed. So it's amazing. And then I don't know who doesn't use this. You bake with it, you pop popcorn with it, and it says right on there, soybean oil. So anytime vegetable oil, canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, all of that, once you squeeze the oil out, you're left with meal, the seed pulp and all that stuff. This is what we add to our cows' diet as well. So cows are just absolutely amazing with the byproducts that they can use and eat. And so really, we are, you might not know it, but we really are connected to dairy, even if you don't eat dairy products. And one of the funnest things I like to tell people about is that not only are they great at recycling with byproducts coming in, we really like to recycle what comes out of our cows. And so what you can do is when the cow, there's manure that we scrape from our alleyways. If you collect it, squeeze all the water and all the liquid out of it, you're left with a dried manure product. It's fluffy, it's dry, and a lot of us, if you're a gardener, you could turn that, it looks exactly like it, you can turn that into cow pots, is what these are called. Dried manure formed pots. You put your plants in there and they have a source of fertilizer right off the bat to start. Not only can you use manure for useful things, you can also use them for beautiful things. This is elephant poo, but you can have lots of fiber products and poo-poo paper. All of this is all poo-poo paper. This one is cow actually right here. So lots of different fiber products come from cow manure, and we have a whole little notebook here. And so it's really amazing the things that the whole recycling system involved in cows. And the neatest one, and it's a part of the recipe over here, and I can maybe hold off if, are there any questions so far before I move over to this part?
We have a lot of great questions. Sylvia wanted to know, can humans eat all of what you showed us? We know you mentioned rumination. Can you give us just a quick synopsis of what rumination is and if we can eat like a cow?
Yes, well, actually, right behind me, I have my helpers that'll show you a little bit about rumination. We have a gal over here, 5465. If you look at her, it looks like she's chewing a big wad of bubble gum. And what she is doing is the cellulose in grasses and forages is something that us humans can't digest. Oh, did she just bring up another one? So it's a really tough thing. And so rumination is a different type of digestion where you need to have 4 different compartments to your stomach. And so you bring in a lot of food, a lot of plant material, and the grasses that have all that cellulose. You can eat a whole lot, you lie down, and then 8 hours a day, these gals will slowly bring up a ball of what we call cud. I think a bolus also is another word. So they bring it up, they'll chew it about, here she goes again, about 70 times our cows do before she swallows that, and then she'll bring up another one. The saliva adds to it all, the enzymes, it breaks down the cellulose, it goes through the other 2 compartments of her stomach, and then it can be digested. So that is something we can't do. Now, some of these things, you know, I personally, I don't think they would taste very good. The waste chocolate, maybe, but I don't think people really eat Distillers grains, cottonseed, citrus. But I mean, if you're hungry enough, who knows what you're going to eat? But most of these things are not really tasty, I think, to humans. So, but the cow. Yeah.
Do you mix all these with the hay, or do you give them to them straight?
Well, and that we can do. I can show you how we mix a total mixed ration is what it's called. Cows eat a huge salad of about 8 different ingredients, and I have a recipe over here for our highest producing cows, and I can whip that up real quick if we're ready for that part of our tour.
We are ready.
We are. Well, wait. Before that happens, though, you know, hold on. Is this going to fit over my thing?
And it looks like we have a hungry customer behind you.
Oh, I don't think it's going to stay on, but you get the idea. We're going to now mix up a lovely diet. We have, as I said, about, I think, 10 different recipes we're mixing up. And this one is just for our highest producing cows. You saw in the maternity barn that we have 2 other recipes for our dry cows. The actually final product is down there below the table. And so the first big thing, and now these amounts are just sort of I'm winging it in our recipe. So I guess, what do you call that when you're just, but the biggest one is corn silage. So here we're going to do our big salad right in here. 3 handfuls of corn silage. Corn silage is just chopped up corn plants. And what you do is you'll see the bunks over on the other side of the barn. You chop up the corn plants, you pack it all down, preserve it under plastic in an anaerobic environment, and then it preserves for about 5 months, and then we can feed it to our cows. So that's what the corn silage is there. Haylage, same sort of concept. How many handfuls? 1 handful of haylage. We'll mix that in. We're going to compare this with the actual diet when we get down to the barn. So lactation grains, lactation means milking. So lactation grains are just, it's like vitamins and minerals that we add for our cows that are milking. So that's that. And what do we need? We need 2 spoonfuls of that. Here we go. 1, 2. And it really is just like you're cooking in the kitchen. You follow the recipe, and the recipe actually does change every day based on how well our cows are producing and how many cows are in the barn. Soybean meal, when you get that oil, this is the meal left over. We saw that over there in the recycling, I guess, byproduct area. The soybean meal is 1 spoonful. So there we go. You can tell we really are just eyeballing it here. And now the one I wanted to tell you about that's over here is whey. Everybody remembers good old little Miss Muffet sitting on her tuffet. She was eating her curds and whey. So this is the coolest byproduct that cows eat. So we feed our cows. They're able to produce milk. The milk goes to the cheese plant down the road. In order to make cheese, you need to you end up adding things to the milk that'll split the curds and the whey. You get the cheese curd, and then you get this whey byproduct. This whey comes right back to our farm. and we add it to their feed. It is a complete, like, recyclable circle, because then the cows eat it again and make the milk, which goes to the plant, which so do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, so we add whey. I'm gonna just drizzle a little in there. That's good enough. Whey's kind of gross stuff. And then cornmeal is a spoonful of cornmeal. That's the same as that we saw over there. Once you squeeze all the oil out, you're left with some corn, all the seed parts and all that stuff. And high moisture corn, we got that here. High moisture corn is it's from just the corn seed. We mush it all up, and then we put that in an anaerobic environment as well and preserve it. So this is fermented, I guess you can say, corn. And all of this stuff is all analyzed, certain amounts. We have someone helping us, a nutritionist who helps us figure all the protein and all those minerals and all the things that they need, the dry matter, and they give us the recipe based on, they'll go to our bunks and get a sample of what we've harvested that year, and they'll tell us the amount of nutrients that's in it, and then they'll whip up a diet for us that gives the cow the optimum nutrition that she needs. And last, straw. We got to add a little bit of straw, so a handful of that. This is our total mixed ration, a TMR, for our highest producing cows. So now I'm going to mix it all together, and we can get our thing down there that talks about what our high producing cow eats. Here we go. I feel like such a good cook right now. I followed the recipe exactly. So this goes into our mixer. It mixes for about 5 minutes, I think, in our mixer. And it should look very similar. Are we ready? So that wasn't 5 minutes, but you get the idea. Okay, here we go. And did I come close?
It is definitely close. It looks delicious if I was a cow.
I know, the ones that look at all these ladies behind me. They're eating, remember, the dry cow mix that has a whole lot of straw in it. So they're thinking that this looks pretty tasty for them. So yeah, so that is how we do a TMR on a teeny tiny small scale, because our wagons are over that away and much bigger. Yeah, so there you have it. And if we want to continue, I don't know what our time is, but we can head down.
About 6 minutes.
Let's try. We're going to head down to, and so I can show you a little bit more about what our cow comfort is for our cows, because the maternity barn doesn't allow for the automatic manure scrapers or those super cool automatic back scratchers. So we might be able to get a look at that in the next barn.
As we're headed over to the barn, it's a great couple great questions from Marissa and Kellen. If the cows are sick, are they fed something different?
Oh yeah, I'm not exactly sure. They do get of course, the medicine that they need, but whether their diet changes, they might get, an IV of fluids and things to help them. But I don't know if their diet exactly changes. But certainly all the medical needs that are necessary. Maybe a little saline or electrolytes, especially our calves do a lot of electrolytes.
And those cows are separated when they are sick, or?
Yep, we have a special bay for them. If cows ever get medicine, we want to make sure that when we take them to the parlor, all that milk is separated. That doesn't go into our trucks or our tank or anything. So they do have a special place where we want to make sure that that milk never enters into our pipeline.
And I have a question. Marissa wanted to know if chocolate is bad for dogs. Is it bad for cows?
Well, remember, this is kind of more waste chocolate. So in a lot of cases, it's like peanuts and the almonds and Kit Kat bars, all the wafer bits and everything. So it's not really a whole big bunch of actual chocolate, because I think the chocolate moves through the machinery easily. It's all that leftover non-chocolate bits, the candy coatings and things like that. Our automatic scraper is on the move in this barn here. You can see it moves really, really slowly as it pulls. It's on a pulley system, so as it's coming down this way, it's going up the other way, and it doesn't bother the cows at all. They'll just step right over it as it makes its very slow way all the way down the barn. Here you go. See, she'll just take a step, and it continues on down. Every half hour, our manure scrapers are going on down the way there. So we have rubber mats in all the alleyways. Again, in here, we have the fans going. We actually even put more fans in over on the other side. We've got the misters over above the feed bunks, and we're coming up to our automatic back scratcher, which right now is being used. It's a slow, it turns, we had them spinning really fast before, but we found that the cows really got a little too excited about that. And so now this cow is getting the full spa. Oh, and even her nose is a little itchy. So she can just move on up to this anywhere she wants and get all those hard to reach places. So we find they really enjoy the back scratcher. So again, in here, the deep sand beds, the freestall barns, and oh, and you can see the manure scraper here has done its job, and now it's on its return trip. It's all folded up, and it's going to head on back after taking care of all the manure. We've got the water trough. Cows can drink up to a whole bathtub filled with water every day. So we always want to make sure to keep fresh water available at all times for the cows.
As we've got about 2 minutes, we have a couple great questions. What happens when a cow gets too heavy?
Too heavy? Well, you know what? She would probably, if they thought her body composition wasn't good, she might get moved to another pen where maybe a lower, like milk producing pen that's getting a different diet that doesn't have as much fat in it. So that might be something that they check. I don't know how often we look at body composition, but that's a good question. Yeah, she might get moved somewhere where the food is not as fattening.
And where does all the water come from that y'all are giving the cows through the day? You mentioned a bathtub worth. Is that
Right.
from well or city water? Or
yeah, we are hooked up to a city water line now. So we used to not be, I don't think. So that was really important. And yeah, dairies are known for using lots and lots of water. Not only do we have to make sure our cows get adequate water, our parlor, when we clean and sanitize the parlor after each milking, that takes a lot of water as well. So we're always recycling water if we can. A lot of times we have a flush system from the parlor. Anytime we use the hose to clean off the parlor area, that water is then collected and it's used to flush down alleyways. So it's kind of nice. We're trying to recycle it as much as we can.
And how old do cows get? What are the oldest cows that you have on your dairy?
Right. I saw a couple of low numbers. It all depends on, it's kind of an economic thing. We want our cows to sort of earn their keep. So some dairies, it could be 6 to 8 years, others 7 to 9. It all depends on what your level is. You want your cow to produce more milk than it costs for you to house and feed them. And so whatever that breaking point is there, once she starts getting older, producing less milk, that's when you need to start making some of those decisions. So so it could be anywhere 6 to 8, 7 to 9. We have a couple, our oldest best cows get to retire over to Old McDonald's farm, which is always nice. And that's part of our 183 right here on our mascot. She was very old and spent the rest of her years over at Old McDonald's farm.
Well, thank you so much, Emma, for having us once again this week. We have 2 more sessions, so we hope that y'all will be able to join us, and we hope that you've learned so much about health and nutrition. There's so much that goes into the dairy industry. We've seen the medical side, we've seen the farming side, and now we've seen a lot of technology use. So we hope that y'all are able to join us next week, where we're going to focus on milking the cows. And learn how they milk their cows at North Harbor Dairy. So many great questions through this session about milking, and we look forward to answering those next week. So y'all have a great weekend and a great Memorial Day.
Thank you.